All right then. It is time to Focus LBK. Welcome to episode 31 of the Focus LBK Show. This is your host, Robert Jenkins. I'm a little bit under the weather and have been for several days now. You can probably hear it in my voice, man. But you know what? I am undeterred. But then again, that's why I'm sitting on my butt now. I didn't been out and about, as we say, trying to cover everything when I thought I just had some sinuses, man. But it turns out it might have been a little something, a little mild cold or something. And today it kind of caught up with me. But guess what? I ain't gonna stay too long. But I do want to let you know quite a few things about what's going on with the show and what's going on out there in the fair, flat city of Lubbock, Texas, USA. We got some stuff from the East Lubbock Art House. We got the IUIC. If you don't know who that is, stay tuned. I will let you know. We got some good stuff about that brother Ricky Gaines talking about the Returning Citizens Association. That brother, man, he is passionate about his cause, and that passion is infectious. You know what I'm saying? We got some work coming out with him that's going to be real nice, I think. I think y'all going to like it. I liked it. We was doing that Saturday. I ain't going to get into it because I don't know what he want to let y'all know about just yet. But I will say, man, the brother has a powerful message, and we're going to get into a little bit of that. We also got a slight change in format. What I'm going to do here on the Focus LBK show, that's focuslbk.show, in case you didn't know, I'm going to add a new section. And the section is going to be called Self-Determination. And if you are an astute listener, you realize that back at the Kwanzaa celebration put on by Mr. J. Leon Williams, Mr. Wilfred Green, also Mr. Sean Harris, y'all know those brothers. They always up to something good in the community. And if y'all went to their Kwanzaa celebration back, I think it was February 2nd, wasn't it? Y'all know that self-determination is one of the principles, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. In fact, I want to say it's Kugichagalia. So don't yell at me and throw no tomatoes if I didn't get that right, because I'm going off the top of my head. But I believe it's Kugichagalia. You know what? Matter of fact, let me just look it up real quick. Kugichaga. Yeah, it sure is. Self-determination, Kugichagalia. So we gonna have on the Focus LBK show a section called self-determination. And the reason we gonna do that is because we got a pretty good response to a couple of articles that we put out back in a few weeks ago about being prepared. When I think of self-determination, I think of preparedness. I think of being able, being self-sufficient and able to determine what you will or will not do with your life beforehand, making your own principles, your own decisions, and having your own resources. And one of the most important ways I can think to do that, as simplest ways, is have you some food, extra food, have you some extra alternate means of shelter if you can. Have you some, remember that we was talking about a boogie bag with them, they had them fires up there? To me, these things have been a part of our life for 20-something years now. It's just the way we roll. In fact, I think it was September 11th that awakened, because I had a latent feeling about being prepared in my mind and in my heart, just the way I kind of grew up with my grandma, seeing her being so self-sufficient and able to do something, even though she was dirt poor, but she could always scramble and survive and make it do what it do. And I like that. I like being able to scramble and survive and make it do what it do. And I like the concept of self-determination. One of the things, one of the easiest ways, another one of the easy ways to be self-determined, to determine your own destiny, is to be a person who owns and knows how to safely use firearms. And of course, we're going to get into the IUIC Youth, Stop the Violence Youth Summit that we went to at May Simmons. So I don't think that's contradictory at all. Owning guns doesn't mean you have to be violent with guns. If you are trained and, what does the Second Amendment say, a well-regulated militia, that doesn't mean, by the way, the state is supposed to control the militia. Well regulated means trained. When you look at the founding fathers' language, anybody can look this up. That meant well trained militia. And they defined a militia as somebody, as a body of able bodied men back in those days. And of course, it would have been white men. But guess what? I don't play that game where you look at when you look at the Second Amendment or you look at being prepared and all that stuff with a negative spin on it because of how things used to be. Yeah, we all know that, in fact, the first anti-gun laws in this country happened after the Civil War when black people were freed. Because then certain white people realized, oh man, these cats free now. That means they can be full citizens. That means they can have their Second Amendment rights just like we can. We can't. Nah, we can't let these cats have no gats. You know what I'm saying? So they made some of the first anti-gun laws. It was about keeping black people from owning guns. So to me, if we have the blessing of living in a country that allows you to have firearms, allows you to be self-sufficient, to be able to be self-determining, to exercise self-determination, we should take advantage of that. So I've got a real knowledgeable brother named James Major. He's a former Marine, and he's going to be joining the show, doing a column on firearms. He's a firearms instructor. Y'all look at that article we did on boogie bags. You'll see we got a picture of him there and got his contact information. If you would like to take a class, I think he does have a wide variety of classes, whether it's beginning firearms and safety to advanced firearms usage and tactics, techniques, and procedures. You know what I'm saying? He teaches the whole gamut, and they are fairly affordable too. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that you really want to do, you're going to put your mind to it and go on and do it. It's going to cost a little scratch, but anything worthwhile costs a little scratch. You know what I'm saying? And I believe his website is mfist.com. But anyway, we'll have Mr. James Major, as I say, contributing to our new section called Self-Determination, Kugichagalia. Yeah, and not only that, but I'm going to start doing quite a few articles on that subject, self-determination. So stay tuned for that. Another thing that we're going to do on the show, y'all, for the past few weeks, I have not been doing a video show. Things have been a little bit hectic, but I want to, well, first of all, you know, I'm a videographer. Y'all know how I roll. And to me, it's just fun to light and film stuff. So I'm going to get back to my roots and start lighting and filming stuff. We're going to get back to Patterson Library. We're going to start having some more guests on. We've had a little bit of lapse in that. Like I said, life is coming at you all up in your grill. You got to move around and make it do what you will. But yeah, stay tuned, man. I'm telling you, we're going to have some good guests on. For example, remember I talked about the IUIC? I don't know if y'all know what that is, but I'm going to go on and tell you. It's Israel United in Christ. And it is we have a local chapter of it. I believe the whole church, the main body of the church is out of New York, if I'm not mistaken. But we have a local contingent of these brothers and sisters here. And when I say contingent, man, I ain't going to lie. I do mean contingent. And I mean, when I say this, I want the brothers from the IUIC to know that this is no disrespect. In fact, this is admiration. I say this with admiration. They have a very military-like feel to them. And when you look at their membership and you see that it is young, strong, military-age males, all looking good and sharp with their beards on and their shiny boots, you know what I'm saying? It's a very muscular version of, I believe you would call it Christianity. If it's not quite Christianity, brothers, y'all can correct me when we get y'all on the show. But see, they put on this Stop the Violence Youth Summit Saturday at May Simmons. And I was scrambling that day. I had a podcast record that morning. And I left there and went directly to the Stop the Violence Youth Summit, Youth Violence Summit, put on by the IUIC. And, you know, one of the first things that I saw was coming up on May Simmons is a group of brothers around the door. And I liked that when I saw it because I used to be extremely interested when I was a young man in being in the Nation of Islam. You know why? Because it's geared towards masculine principles. Men let their yes be yes and they no be no. And I like that. That's discipline. I said no, it ain't gonna be. If I say yes, it will be. You see what I'm saying? The no compromising stance. I like that. And I think a lot of young men like that too. That's part, maybe, why a lot of brothers, young brothers, don't go to church. From what I understand, when we used to be up in Maryland, we used to talk with our pastor up there, Bishop Abraham Shanklin, and he admitted, man, yeah, nationwide, there's a crisis in the church of having men in church. A lot of times you see women in church. And I think it's because we emphasize in church nowadays this caring and accepting and blah, blah, blah. But we de-emphasize the masculine aspects of faith, which is, no, I will not lust in my heart, for example. No, I will not drink this, that, and the other. No, I will not do this, that, and the. Yes, I will always do this on this day. Men like that. And I think that's what I like about the IUIC. And that stands for Israel, United in Christ. So I hope to get those brothers on here, man. But we had a real good time up at the event this Saturday. And we had Miss Phyllis Gant. We had, when I was there, we didn't get to stay too long, but we had Mr. Steven Sanders. Y'all, I'm sorry for that. Y'all see I'm sick here. I'm sorry, I'm snorting and stuff on the mic. Oh my God. But they both had very powerful messages. Miss Gant is always a powerful speaker. So is I've never heard Mr. Sanders speak per se, but he came with a nice message too. Not a nice message, but a sincere message. Started off with a prayer, ended with a prayer. You know, they were talking about losing too many of our youth to violence. Well, this doesn't contradict in any way, form, or fashion this whole thing about being self-determining and ownership of firearms. What it is it shows that we do not have the proper skill set and the proper training, the proper discipline, the proper mindset to successfully own firearms. And that, I believe, honestly, y'all gonna be mad at me, but I don't care. Just like I'm talking about the feminine influence in church and all the caring and the hugging and the loving and to hug your neighbor. I hate that stuff because I'm a man. Men just don't like to do that. Most men don't like to do that. Men are crotchety, disciplined, a little bit edgy, a little bit angry. Maybe I'm talking about myself. But some of the gun violence that we see in our community, I believe, is due to the overly emotional response of our young men to challenges that they face every day in the street. Well, when I was growing up, I never saw men react that way. My grandpa, I've never even seen, for example, one of the best men I've ever known, Robert Jenkins Sr. I don't think in the 40-something years that I knew him while he was alive, I never saw him raise his voice. And he knew how to shoot. He had guns. He was a hunter. Never saw him raise his voice. Always had wise, peaceful counsel. That's what a man is. But our boys nowadays, so many of them think that flying off the handle and coming with these ostentatious displays of firearms and stuff like that is somehow being a man. That ain't being a man. I never knew a man to behave that way. You know what I'm saying? The best men that I have known were always under control. In fact, look at old movies. Old movies used to model how the culture. Now that you see the stuff movies modeling, I just shake my head most of the time. The stuff they modeling is not fit for animals to emulate. But back in the days, you watch old movies, the Sheriff, Matt Dillon and all them, when they had to be violent, they were, but they always were calm and cool and collected and under control. One of the reasons that true men, behave this way is because men understand that the threat of violence underlies all interactions between men, between males. There's always the threat of violence in the background. Women don't understand that, I don't think. And they've been led to think that they can be mouthy and girl bosses and men just get run over nowadays. Yeah, y'all gonna be mad. I don't care. But that's true. There's no countervailing masculinity to balance things nowadays. And that's why we're seeing so much gun violence in our young men. because they raised by mostly single parents, and most of the time that's going to be a single mother. So this young man's whole paradigm of how to react to stressors in life come from the feminine set of rules and expectations. Have they ever had a man show them that being a man is not? Yeah, men have a lot of testosterone, and that testosterone, like I said, is why there's always the threat of violence. But guess what? Real men channel that testosterone, that masculine energy. It ain't toxic masculinity. It's called tonic masculinity. Tonic means it strengthens you, it builds you. Real men channel their masculinity, their anger, their strength, their drive, their determination. They channel that so that they can have successful families. That's what gets you up every day going to work. That's what makes you stay with your wife. That's what makes you not cheat on your wife. We have been sold a bill of goods about masculinity being basically punctified. So punctified. I don't know. I'm an old school cat. I feel some kind of way seeing cats wearing pink hair and braids and stuff, sagging their pants all down. You know what I'm saying? To me, that ain't masculinity. That's something entirely different. And that's why, going back to the Israel United in Christ brothers that put on this Stop the Violence seminar at May Simmons, that's why I like them. Now, I don't know much about their claim of being the nation of Israel, the true nation of Israel. I got some thoughts on that. We're going to chop it up when we get them on the show. I don't know exactly when that's going to be, but we're going to try to get them on the show. We're going to chop it up and we're going to figure out exactly what these brothers believe. One thing I noticed, we got a show coming up Wednesday, a recap video from the Stop the Violence thing, a couple of interviews with some of their leadership, and they ain't shy about telling you what they believe. And I like that. I like the uncompromising stand they seem to take on a lot of stuff, man. I'm down with it. So anyway, that's what we was doing this weekend. Went out there. Now, we were talking about firearms and self-determination. Along that same lines, if you look down here in the show notes, you notice we got a free class, the ABR Academy. That's Always Be Ready. I don't know much about them. I know it's hosted by the USCCA. I think that's the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. They're putting on a class called Creating a Self-Defense After Action Plan. So if you ever do, this is what it sounds like when the smoke clears, a free class, by the way. If you ever do have to defend yourself, I hope you don't. Nobody wants to be in that situation. Nobody wants to take a human life, but like my dad taught me growing up, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Right? So they got this free class coming up when the smoke clears. And it's going to be hosted by the U.S. Concealed Carry Association. And trying to see, oh, there it go. I'm trying to see when it is. It's going to be taught by Zach Wiley. It's going to be April 11th, Thursday, April 11th, 2024, from 6 to 7:15 p.m. over at 511 in West End at the 511 store. That's 2910 West Loop 289, Suite 825. I might be there. I don't know. I say I don't know because honestly, man, I'm not sure about this U.S. Concealed Carry Association. And I say that because one of the leaders or one of the spokesmen or something like that, I don't know. They among the gun community, they're kind of in some the Second Amendment community, they kind of in some there's some controversy. I was watching, was it Coleon Noir? No, it was another cat. I can't think of the dude's name, but he was basically saying, you buy this insurance in case you ever get into a bad situation. You have a lawyer on retainer, basically, is what it is. But they are declining to take cases that seem to be open and shut, clear-cut cases of self-defense. But they are, for some reason, declining to take these cases. So I don't know. I ain't talking bad about them. Like I say, I might go because, I'm a ardent Second Amendment enthusiast. I enthusiastically participate in my God-given right to be able to defend myself. How you going to build a life if you cannot defend those things that you are working so hard for? Self-determination. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. So anyway, this is like, I don't know, this is like a militant episode right here, boy. We're talking about manhood, talking about the IUIC, we're talking about self-determination and being prepared and all kind of stuff, man. But you know what, y'all? These are things that I find important, and I hope y'all do too. And judging by some of the reactions to some of the articles that we put out, like I say, I think there's an audience for this. So, man, y'all let me know if y'all like it. We'll keep it coming. Stay tuned somewhere around Wednesday for the first article by Mr. James Major. All right, moving on. What's going on? We got Parks and Rec teaming up with the East Lubbock Art House, talking about Art in the Park at Ernest Butler Park, Saturday, April 20th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It is free. East Lubbock Art House doing their thing at the intersection of art and activism. You can't be mad at them. They always getting it done, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So get out there to that. Check it out. Now, what I want to move into next, I was talking about we're going to get back to doing more video shows. We stopped for a second. We had some bumps in the programming that we had to kind of overcome. We're trying to get us a location here so we can just have gear. We can have our studio set up so people can just roll in. And I got I have been making so many contacts lately. I got a ton of interesting people to talk to. But it is very difficult, I ain't gonna lie, to go. Because see, when we go to location, when we go record on location, we have to set up. And it takes an hour to set up. And it takes about 20, 30 minutes to tear down. Well, probably about 15, 20 minutes to tear down. About 20. But the point is, hour and a half of setup and tear down, that cuts into how many guests you can have. It's wear and tear on your body, on your equipment, carrying all these bags. There's that old joke about videographers basically being mules. That's true. That's all we do is carry heavy stuff. But what we do want to do, though, is get that location. We got a couple of spots we looking at, and we think one of them going to come through. We ain't going to say too much about it because we don't know all the details yet, but we're going to be able to leave everything set up. And by the way, what's going to happen, folks, is if your organization wants to do a professional podcast that's well lit, it's got crispy audio, sounds good and looks good, you'll be able to hit us up. Lubbock Video. That's who we are. LBK Video Solutions. That's my company. Y'all will be able to hit us up and we will produce your podcast. You don't even have to be on Focus LBK Show if you don't want to. Now, we always welcome everybody. We literally embrace free speech. I will talk to anybody in the community that want to talk. If they want to talk to me, I want to talk to them. You know what I'm saying? I told you, man, we old school. That's when I came up in the 90s. I think back to it, and it's so sad how back in the 90s, I feel like we had less racial division. Now, all everybody do is focus on race. Back in the 90s, it seemed like everything was starting to level out and get cool. Now all you hear is DEI, and I saw a funny little video, and it was comparing racists versus woke people. I'm gonna put it down here in the bottom, and it's funny to me because it's almost undeniable the similarities between racists and woke people. People that say they woke, how they focus on race, and racists focus on race. I'm gonna put it down there. Y'all gonna be mad, or you gonna find it hilarious? I find it hilarious because the parallels are undeniable as far as I can tell. But yo, check it out. It's down there at the bottom. But when I was coming up, man, back I was just watching Jason Whitlock's show. I don't know if y'all watched Jason Whitlock. He was talking about how in the 90s on the Phil Donahue show, back when there was only like 3 television stations in Lubbock, it was KMAC, Channel 11, and KLBK. You know what I'm saying? That's all it was. Phil Donahue show was a national talk show with hundreds of millions, tens of millions of viewers. I don't know. There's only 3 stations out there, so he had a big share of whoever was watching, and they openly talked about controversial themes. And now we talk about don't platform people because we don't like them. Don't give them a platform. That ain't how we do in America, man. That is not what I was taught. That we have literally done a 180-degree about face. About, hey! We have literally clicked our heels together and did a 180-degree turnaround when it comes to the First Amendment. Talking about these things you can't say. This is America, man. You can say anything you want to say, and you should not be getting in trouble. You should not be getting deplatformed. You should not be getting, oh, man, they even got people that's taking your banking away if you say things people don't like. Come on. And the same people that doing this think they the good guys. Let me give you a hint. The good guys don't stop people from talking, even if they disagree with them. Let me give you a hint. The good guys don't shut down people just because they don't like their message, and they show don't shut down people's bank accounts because they disagree with what they're saying. Israel United in Christ, them brothers, going back to them, they got a strong message. There's a lot of people out there probably don't want to hear what they got to say. But guess what? This is America. We're one of the only countries on the planet where the regular old people can say whatever they want. Not the king, not the congressman, not the president. Everybody can say what they want. And guess what? You know what I've discovered? Most of the time when we demonize people and say they message is evil and hateful and blah, 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 it usually ain't. If you actually listen to what they saying and not what you say they saying, but listen to what they are saying, most time people have solid reasons for what they're saying, or at least somewhat solid reasons. It makes a little sense. You might still disagree with it, but you can say, well, yeah, I see how you say that. Instead of always shouting racism, that's racist. Most people that you call racist don't even look at race when they make decisions. They look at economics and the true effects of things on real people. Not how it feels inside to pass a law, but what it really does when you pass that law. It actually doesn't usually help the people that you're trying to help, for example. But we'll call that racist. And they looking at us like, well, that's racist. How is that racist? I just don't think it works. I don't think it makes sense. But you'll never know that if you shut somebody down, deplatforming them. I'm going to tell you somebody who has a great message that I don't see why anybody would deplatform, but somebody that deserves to be listened to, man. And that's that brother Ricky Gaines with the Returning Citizens Association. I told you before, I think that was a stroke of genius naming it Returning Citizens, not ex-cons, not convicts, nothing like that. They are returning citizens. They are citizens who are returning to the world outside of the penal system. And that brother, man, he got some stuff in store. Matter of fact, he got an event coming up at the Civic Center. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm glad I got to talking about it. Y'all, excuse me while I scroll through my stuff here, because I think he done already gave me he sure did. Well, let me see, can I find it? You know, it's funny, man. I was real sick and tired and everything, but when you get to talking and get your flow going, I feel pretty good now. I done found my stride. Yeah, Returning Citizens Association presents Building Resilience Summit Series 2024, Overcoming Domestic Violence and Trauma. Dude, that's going to be on 11 May 2024 at the Civic Center. How you get the Civic Center? This cat is making moves. Gee. I don't even know how to do that. I got to talk to this brother, Ricky Gaines, one day and just see like, man, how did you get the Civic Center? And I work for the city. I don't know how to get the Civic Center. Wow. Anyway, it's going to be co-host Andrea Gaines, co-host Pastor Jose Lemus Jr. Speakers are going to be Erica Munoz, RCA. Let me make this bigger. RCA ambassador, that's Returning Citizens Association. Speaker is also going to be Ricky Gaines. Of course, he's the executive director of the RCA. And it's going to be Speaker Natasia Limas, RCA ambassador. So they going to have a summit focused on overcoming domestic violence and trauma. And our distinguished speakers will share personal stories, professional insights, and strategies for healing and resilience. So, check that out. I am sorry I did not mention that earlier, but when I was talking about the brother Ricky Gaines and his mission, that's why, we applaud people that's out here making it do what it do. That's what I like to see. That's why I like East Lubbock Art House. Dimitri over there, man, because she be making it do what it do. I applaud that. That's why I like Miss Shirley Green. She be behind the scenes, just putting it together. You know what I'm saying? Making it do what it do. Her whole team, Ricky Gaines and his whole team, man, it's a lot of Lubbockites out here in the Fairflat City making it do what it do, and we applaud all of them, man. And here we go. We, like I say, we'll work with anybody that's doing positive things in the community. We'll talk to anybody that's doing positive things in the community. And we ain't got to like them or agree with them, because that's what America is all about. That's what free speech mean. Anyway, man, I'm going to stop preaching at y'all. You see, I can't hardly talk. Halfway sick. I thought I was hitting my stride, and I was, but now I didn't realize, okay, yeah, I think that might be enough. Man, I'm finna go on and get on out of here. LBK, I want to wish y'all a happy, healthy week. Listen to your body too, man. I failed to do that. If your body telling you to sit down, sit your butt down. You know what I'm saying? Or you'll be up here sounding like me. But anyway, that's all I want to say for today. Lubbock, y'all have a blessed week, and we'll see y'all on the next episode. Peace.